All right, what's up, me Dwellers? Episode 41. I'm Stuart Anderson here with just a short introduction before Jason Lang and Jake Cook interview me. So I hope that's okay. Just an introduction to who I am and how I got involved with Me Dwelle, how I got involved with endurance sports, and just Jake and Jason asking me questions about my life. So hopefully it's enjoyable, not ridiculous. It was a little weird to be interviewed, but it was fun. So hopefully we'll get more guys on the team, ladies on the team to be interviewed so you can meet all the awesome people who ride for Me Dwelle and are part of this great group. So thanks to Jason and Jake for taking the time out of their busy days to interview me and make episode 41. Hopefully you enjoy. There's a couple quick announcements about Team Camp. It is coming up fast with a lot of awesome raffle. The raffle prize and part of the camp for 2022 is really turning out to be fun. A lot of awesome sponsors and companies that are donating and wanting to be part of Team Camp. So, man, I'd come down to Team Camp just for the raffle. It's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of cool things happening there. And then soon we will release the date for kits. Hopefully Volet will be shipping them within the next week or two, and then we can set a date to have everybody come pick them up and get the new white stuff. So kits are coming. Grateful for everybody on the squad. Thankful for our loyal listeners and everybody that's part of the group. So enjoy the episode, and I'll see you out there. Bye. All right. What's up? Welcome. Me Dwelle podcast. I am Stuart. There's Jake. There's Jason. Three of us. What's up, dudes?
What up?
Hey, buddy.
So today is January 14th, Friday. We're just plugging along with life. Really grateful to be here. I like to start the podcast. Current training status, Jason.
Current training status is I'm full go on structured training with Plan 7.
7. Nice.
I was pretty sick for a while, but now I'm none of the workouts are showing on Strava. They're just private because they're boring. It's just structure, but okay. I'm doing them every day. Okay. I'm doing something.
Dude, you were strong Tuesday. I didn't feel like you'd missed a step there. So that was great. Jake, just fresh home from the islands?
Back from the island life. It was a good 2 weeks there. Ended with a little crash in Hawaii, so that wasn't fun. But yeah, we're good. Nothing wrong with training in private Lang. It's always fun to kind of keep things close. So, but yeah, training's good. We're rolling. So me and you are riding today at 2:30. So
I don't know who created the idea, but sub 4 Haleakala. I guess it's a thing. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was good. It was a good day. Conditions couldn't have been better. 50 degrees at top, no wind. Just beautiful day. So
if you don't know what that means, that is riding for 4 straight hours uphill on a volcano from sea level to 10,000 feet. So kudos, Jake. Well done.
Thank you.
My training status is, things are good. We're Zwifting, Zwift ride leaders, some structure, some not structure. Still going Orange Theory. I'm really enjoying it. So a lot of rowing, a lot of all that stuff. I put on 25 pounds of muscle already this winter. So
are you going to post some shirtless pics of the Orange Theory?
Anyway,
so good.
Right. Hey, so today's a little different. Jason and Jake both suggested privately to me it'd be fun to interview me about whatever. Why we run the team, how I got into it, and just like a little more background of who is Stuart. So that's what today is. They're going to ask me questions and we're going to roll through that. Hopefully that's, turn off now. I learned from Tim Ferriss, not all podcasts are for everyone. So it's okay. I don't mind.
Well, it's only about time we interview the boss though. Everyone's got to know the Stuart Anderson. So,
oh man, hopefully they know me enough. All right.
So,
well, Jake, go ahead, Jake.
No, do you want to go team camp and some announcements?
Oh, yeah. Team camp. So we're still moving forward. March 17th. 70 have registered.
70.
So there's going to be There's going to be a lot of ride options for people that are nervous, whatever. So there's going to be dirt. Jason's put together some really fun routes. Dude, raffle is stacking up to be just, I mean, if you just came down for raffle, you'd come out on top. So,
amen. So many good raffles, and Chip's done a great job on that.
Yeah.
I mean, Lang, like Stu said, Lang's done a great job on the routes. We're getting dialed in. I mean, geez Louise, we've got Bentham who's gonna just, I mean, they're opening the canteen here, man. It's fantastic. So,
I mean, if it all goes to plans, I don't want to be too, they're going to give away a bike at camp.
Wow.
Yeah. 2 wheel sets from Mercury. We're having a Lotaja registration going to be given away. I mean, there are some Taylor Dame's giving away 7 pairs of glasses from his glasses company. I mean, there is like legitimate
custom vans. Dude,
custom van.
I mean, come on, guys.
Just come down. We're going to do 2 yellow jersey presentations down there too at Jim's house. So it's going to be great. So there's still time to register. Plenty of time. Come to camp.
Commit. Yeah. Yep. Commit now.
Volley backed up a little with kits, but we should have them by camp. We don't have a firm date for kit pickup though. So not a whole lot to announce there. So,
well, let's dive into this, man. Stu, it's a pleasure to have you on here, have Lang on here. We're both, consider you one of our closest friends, and couldn't be more excited to kind of go through your life, your journey, and talk about the team, how you started the team or took over the team. And so we'll kind of get into it. So let's start this introduction, man. Shall we?
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. So this was, we had Kristen, or did Kristen write this?
No, I wrote my own introduction.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's read it then.
Okay.
Born and raised in Holiday, attended Crestview, Ole Jr., and Ole High. Comes from a family of 3 kids and is a middle child. Served an LDS mission in Ireland and Northern Ireland in 1999 to 2000. Then came home and got a double bachelor's degree in political science and business from the U of U. Lifelong enthusiast, attended every Rick Majerus basketball game as a kid and teen. Dude, complete legend. Remember that guy. Attended Ron McBride football camp every summer. Gloriously lost the 1997-98 4A football state championships to Timpview. They were good back then.
Dude, they were so good.
They were good.
They beat us in our high school thing. Anyways, married a high school girlfriend, Kristen, which we all know is Miss Dooley, back in 2004, and has 2 daughters, 14 and 8, lives in Holiday and works for Crown Counsel, a dental marketing and consulting company. A few little notary items here. He loves Bang energy drinks. What's your favorite flavor, Stu?
Dude, I don't even know. I love that stupid unicorn one. I don't know. It just speaks to me. Unicorn. Just speaks to me.
And I heard that you drink these before Zwift sometimes.
Oh man,
is that true?
Unfortunately, it's just like it's just like bad. Like I try to quit them, and then I'm like, I'll have a half a can. They're like sitting around my house and in the fridge, like a half a can here, like a warm one in the bathroom. It's not good. It's not great.
Bro, I have the Bang powder that I just mixed in whatever strength you want into your bottle.
I don't know. I'm ordering that right now.
So good. He has 2 precious standard poodles. So you just got one a year ago?
Yeah, she's a mix though.
Okay.
Doodle with a golden retriever. She's great. Okay. Love my dogs. Yeah.
All right. Looks like you're good with your hands since you played piano since 8 years old.
Uh-huh. I'm an accomplished pianist. You didn't know it. Yeah.
Wow. Watercolor painting too?
Yeah. Love to paint. Yep. Very artistic.
Maybe we need to add like a raffle for a prize at camp. Do you think?
Yeah, like an eggplant watercolor? Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Perfect. Newly addicted to Beat Saber on Oculus?
Yes.
Tell me about this, Stu.
Dude, bought a VR for myself. Like I just play virtual reality in my basement. Is so fun. I've never been a gamer, like not a thing. I am full blown. Like this is so fun. You put these dumb goggles on and that's it. Good night. Like don't even talk to me. So
yeah. Actually we do have a video of you doing it. I think Kristen sent it to us or somebody. Can't remember. You were Scoutmaster for 6 years. That's
gray my beard. There it is.
That's good. Favorite rides. Let's see. 5 a.m. trip to Big Mountain, Haleakala, mountain bike on Flying Dog in Glenwild. That's become a new thing the last year or two, right? Glenwild. Right. Mm-hmm. Old Huntsman 140 and the Zwift.
So, dude, I love Zwift. I mean, I try not to like it, but I love it.
And you know what? And their fitness is going nuts right now, man. I mean,
yeah, you just keep putting keep putting your weight down. You just boop, 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 boop. Keep getting fitter.
Oh no, it's been fun. All right, cool. Anything else, Stu? Anything else we missed on that list?
No, I mean, I can hit some background topics here if you want to. I mean, I always played soccer as a kid. So soccer from the time I was young. My dad always coached baseball. I always did junior jazz. Like I was always like we were sportsy all the time. And then we were going to every basketball game, every Utah football game. Like I was always involved with sports. But when I turned 12, I kind of got like, kind of like a pudgy kid. I don't want to call myself fat, but I was not healthy or athletic. And then when I turned 14, I started playing on the ninth grade football team. And that was a huge turnaround. Like I didn't make the A team. So I was relegated to B team as a ninth grader, and big chip on my shoulder. Like I wanted to nuke these dudes that thought they were just hot on the A team. So I remember like training, like I thought I was Rocky IV, like out in my snow boots. Like I would lift weight. Like as a ninth grader, I was all in. So from there on, all I did was football in high school. So I had a coach that was just awesome. Coach Mike Miller showed us how to train, how to lift, how to freaking overdose on creatine. I don't know if that was a thing for you guys when you're in high school.
For sure.
Just like a total kidney shutdown for like creatine loading. So dumb. But I just loved it. My dad was always he was like a lifetime member at Sports Mall. So we have so I was at Sports Mall a lot as a kid. So anyway, that's kind of where I learned to love exercising and stuff, was training for high school football.
Perfect.
Playing. Yeah. So yeah.
How'd you get into endurance sports? Tell us a little bit about that.
So as Jace knows, CrossFit kind of came around 2007, 2008. And me and this buddy were like, I'm not going to pay for that. So we started doing this ridiculous. We would go to Gold's on Van Winkle, and I bought a Dynamax ball. Jay's bought. We would take in our own kettlebells. We had this suitcase we would roll in with like freaking rings and all the dumbest stuff.
You'd bring them in yourself?
Yeah. Well, they didn't have any of the stuff. They didn't have like slam balls and whatever. And so we would make up these workouts at Gold's that were just, it was like 400 body weight squats and 600 pull-ups. I mean, we were in there for like hours, just so dumb. And it kind of came from inspiration. I don't know if you've ever seen the gym. Like there's a company called Jim Jones here in Salt Lake that trained all the 300 guys for the movie 300. And that was it. Like we would go to their site, we would steal their workouts. And one time me and Chris Hampshire finally realized, this is a buddy I do it with, like, hey, let's go do a triathlon. Like that's stupid. Like so hard, run, swim, bike. So we signed up for one of these triathlons, the Yuba. And I vividly remember he gave me a caffeine capsule right before the swim, right? And I was like, yeah, why not? It's a great idea. Dude, I almost had like a heart attack in my open water swim. I'd never open water swim. I'm now juiced on like 500 milligrams of caffeine. I was like panicking on my back for a long time. I barely float to the end. I got on the bike. Wasn't even my bike. Like I borrowed some stupid bike, and then it was terrible. But then I was like, well, we can get better at this. So that's kind of where it came from, was like, I dove into this weird triathlon world that took me to like bought a TT bike, did the St. George half Ironman, did the Pumpkin Man half Ironman. And finally, after doing one of those half Ironmans, Kristen was like, this has got to stop. Like she was like voice of reason, training for swimming in the morning, running, biking. She's like, you are a selfish SOB and you're done doing triathlon. So I was like, fair enough. Like I kind of just gave it all up, but I'd bought this Specialized Elise in aluminum from Bicycle Center that I then sold and bought this weird Orbea time trial bike from a buddy. He's just a close friend that used to do time trials. And I rode a time trial bike like as my bike for.
Did you really?
Yeah, for like 2 years. It was like all I rode. Up in me, dude, I rode a big cottonwood with a standard crank and a 23 in the back, just like I had I was so dumb.
To be fair, you rode with a 25 on the back until like 2 years ago.
That's true.
This is true. This is true.
That's true. That's true. Very true. But I mean, like, that's kind of where it started. I was out training for whatever triathlons. And I wouldn't say I was like an endurance athlete, though. I think my strategy was like survive the swim, just freaking nuke the bike, and then try not to jog. Or try not to walk. I would just like try to suffer through it. So anyway, I did a lot of it with Jameson. So Jameson Rice on the team, like me and James did a bunch of tries together. It was kind of our fun thing we do. But yeah, it was kind of the beginnings of endurance sports.
That's cool. What about Miduli? How'd you find Miduli and why?
So Dwelle came easy because Dwelle's, you guys know, Dwelle's ride at just an asinine time of day. So I would go out at 5 a.m. and there's Chip. Everywhere I went, there's Chip. Like I'm up Mill Creek. Oh, there's that guy, Chip. There's Chip. I'd be an Emmy. I'd be like, oh, there's Chris Peterson. I don't know who they were, but it was like I was always seeing the same guy. And that happened all summer. It was like the summer of 2013 or some dude. I saw him all the time. And I'm on that stupid time trial bike. Like I was so stupid. That's probably why they didn't invite me. That's probably why Chip was like, oh, we can't have that guy in a group ride. But like finally one morning, so Chip and I are in the same neighborhood. Spence was like, hey, you should come out. Me and this guy, Blake Dowdle. And Blake had just won Cat 5 at Lodija. So it was like middle of September. He's like, come ride Mill Creek with us. So I was like, okay, fair enough. So I show up. You guys know Mill Creek. It's freezing. I don't have any gear. I'm an idiot. And Chip's like, oh, let me get you a jacket. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Chip. We're riding up Mill Creek and they're just kind of like, I can tell they're like waiting for me. I'm like dangling in the back, and I'm freezing. And so I decided it would be a good idea to put this wind jacket on the Three Bears, on the Three Miserables. Like, you know, that section, I'm like pulling it out of my back and the freaking jacket gets stuck in the spokes of my rear wheel.
Yes.
And I'm like, guys, and I can see him just kind of roll. You know how patient Chip is. He's like, oh, it's all good. But I'm like, I'm failing this bike interview. Like I am tanking this experience. But dude, that was it. Like after that, I'm like, I want to ride. I would only ever ride with guys that were from Midwelle. Like it was just like, that's who Chip was with. That's who I was with. So that kind of started 2013. I bought a kit in 2014. And then from there, I started going to their Mill Creek rides. Chip brought me a kit in 2004. He like dropped it off in my house before I did Haleakala. And I'm like, okay, I'm in this. Like, this is so fun. I wore it to the top of the volcano and dude, from there, that was it. Like I would just go on all their team rides. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's Chip, awesome, man.
Chip, the ultimate ambassador.
Chip, Sharp, Peterson, all of them, man.
I got to tell you, Stu, that reminds me of a similar situation riding with you two, actually, when I was first starting. It was up Emmy. It was just us three, I think. It was a rare morning with a tailwind.
Yeah.
Up Emmy.
Yeah.
And you guys were just like kind of pedaling. and I was going as hard as I could, like heart rate max, total red line. And you guys were like, Lang, you're going to get that sub 30 Emmy like right away. Like
day one.
First year cycling.
I don't even remember that.
And I was
so good.
Like we hit the fire station and I said, guys, I'm done.
This is not
I'm cooked. And you guys aren't even breathing.
Oh my God.
And I'm like just wanting to die. And I texted you, Stu, after and I said, I'm so sorry. I ruined such a good morning for you. A rare tailwind. And you just said, dude,
not even.
You have to realize how much I love cycling. I just love being out there with you. It doesn't even matter. Like we'll get it again. There'll be another tailwind morning.
Nice, dude. That's funny. That's good.
It's so funny you remember that. That's great, man.
That's good.
It's so good. So Stu, what about your we all know you love racing. We love training. Obviously, you've talked about it, but
Yeah.
how does that all incorporate into your lifestyle?
Yeah.
Man? Tell us about
Yeah.
your lifestyle, your training, your racing. Tell us about it.
Since I was like mid-20s, I kind of had this weird desire to train. I kind of became addicted to this idea that the phrase is the mind is primary, meaning like whatever, all the physical stuff that follows hard disciplined training is nice, but I'm really in the business of training like my mind. So to become, whether it's more resilient or more disciplined or have a deeper character or learn whatever life lessons, I have found no better teacher than cycling to do all those things. And so whether it's the discipline of getting up, being prepared, being meticulous with a machine, having a training plan, preparing for a race, working with others, doing something sometimes where you're like, I don't really feel like doing this. Sometimes I love this sport mostly for that. So cycling for me is like part task, part fitness, part training, part socializing. Like it hits so many different aspects of life that I love it. Like it's seriously, it's hard to not want to share it and be part of a thing that takes cycling to everyone and shows them how special it can be on all those different levels.
Sure.
I mean, some of the things that I love most is, and you guys both know this, like I love taking a Mill Creek PR and saying, okay, this year, how is it faster, better equipment? I'm lighter, I'm stronger, whatever. Like I love to watch those Canyon PRs. It's one of my most favorite things to see year to year, how I get better. And I mean, beyond that, like training and showing my kids I can do hard things and be a disciplined rider. I mean, there's so many aspects of the sport that I love. So yeah. Is that good? Does that answer your question?
No, that's good. And I'll just echo this because I had the opportunity to do your support for Lodicha a couple years ago. And I think I saw this firsthand, just kind of the lifestyle, the time that you put in, the preparation you put in to make it all meticulous and perfect for me, at least to do all your support. And I mean, for me, it was eye-opening. I mean, it really taught me a whole lot and taught me the type of person, that you are, the type of leader you are. And so I walked away from that experience like, man, I could do so much better in my life, my preparation and things. I mean, it was a huge bonus for me. So thank you. It's awesome.
Well, I learned, go ahead, Jace.
No, go ahead.
I've just learned from, and I'll maybe get into this in a sec, but I learned from, I mean, so in our business, in our Crown Council business, we tell that people that it's ridiculous to create mediocrity, copy genius, copy the guys who are the geniuses and surround yourself with those dudes that or women that are not trying to figure it out on their own. And that is literally what I have done in cycling, like followed some of these dwellers in yellow jerseys who I'm just like, yep,
right.
This is who I love to ride with and be with. And they've kind of shown me, because it's not easy. Like Jace knows, it's not easy to enter this arena. There's so many things, even buying Peloton kits, Jace learned the hard way.
Club fit for life.
It's the famous saying, can you learn from the experience of others? And absolutely you can, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good transition, actually, of you kind of laid the foundation of who you are as a person and kind of why you maybe stand out as a leader and kind of gravitate to leadership roles. So how did you kind of take over Midweli leadership and become one of these, the boss dually?
Dang, let's go. So Chip and I, we're close, and I started to just dabble. The team used to have a website, and I'm like, I'll get on the website. and some of the links were old and the pictures were stock. And I was like, I'm going to just create a website and I'm going to see what they think. So I created one of those drag and drop websites on Squarespace, right? Like, and I showed it to Gino and Chris and I was like, hey, I created this and I'm happy to manage it. And they were just like, oh, what? Yes, thank you. And so then on the side, I created a Twitter feed and a Instagram page, and I started just posting whatever, and I started just doing things that I thought would help the team. And team leadership was like, this is dope. Like, thank you. Continue to do all of this free service for us. We are like grateful for this idiot kid who's like, dude. And it was just kind of like, because I loved the idea of this group and making it cool and designing cool kits. And that was kind of where we went. Like Chip started bringing me in for kit ideas. And he started introducing me to guys like Chris. And then I think things really started to take hold when I was introduced to Sharp. I really loved his mindset of just like, he would just go. Like, I loved it. I remember one time he called me, it was snowing or maybe just chilly. It was Valentine's Day. And he's like, let's go up big. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. So we got to Storm Mountain or a little above it. And it was a whiteout, like snowstorm. And I'll never forget, if you go to Sharp's Instagram page, there's a picture of us in a whiteout in Big Cottonwood. And we're just like, it's so fun. But like, I had experience after experience with Sharp doing that, like ultimate challenge, like you name it. Sharp's there by my side those first couple of years, just kind of like teaching me how he does Lotaja, his 7 Ps, and all the things that he does that like makes a great rider. And that's kind of how I started to meet all these guys who ran the team, who'd been part of the group forever. And I mean, that is essentially where it started. And then should I keep going?
Well, I was just going to say, yes, keep going. But you passed that along to me as a new rider too. Just a couple of years ago, I said, hey, how can I learn what to do? There's so much in this sport that there's a steep learning curve. And you just said, find the best, most experienced rider and do what they do. And that was Sharp for you. And that was you for me, honestly. So I'm super grateful for that.
Yes. Passing down bad habits from one rider to the next.
Yeah. Just teaching me how to be an idiot, just like you.
Would an idiot do this? Then we're doing it. That's great.
But yeah, keep going.
I mean, I started signing up for races. It was a few years before I did Lotaja. I thought that was just like the grand ending of the pinnacle of all endurance events. And I did it, I think the first time was 2005. Me and Chip rode side by side that whole race. Spence took me under his wing. He showed me how he trained and ate, and our wives stayed together all day. Me and Kristen would always do Huntsman 140 from Delta. Like we would drive to Delta and ride back. I don't know if you guys have ever done Huntsman 140. I signed up for East Canyon once, where I drove up with Paul Watson and Sharp, and it was one of my first like major like races. I'll never forget them kind of training me and showing me, dude, I've done Iron Lung. I love Mirror Lake Highway race. And so like all those events just kind of brought me to the, like who I am when it comes to racing and training and events and being with the team. And I don't know if you guys are the same, but like, as soon as I see an event, I want you both to be there. Like, why would I 100%. Sign up to do a thing and be like, I'm going to do this by myself? Like the funnest part about our team is like, oh, we're going to arrive together as friends, do it, and then enjoy that experience when it's over, especially when I get a flat and then all the guys that love and support me, they leave me in the rain.
That never happened.
I'm just kidding. That's just kidding. No, but from what happened there, it was kind of an organic transition to where I was running the website. Chip was designing kits. He was interfacing with Volet more. Me and Chris and Gino and those guys, we were like really communicating. And finally, there was just this time where Chip and I asked, hey, do you guys want us to manage full time? Like we can just run the communication, the website, Instagram page, the kits. And those, you got to remember, like those original leaders had the team for 20 freaking year, 25 year. I mean, 19.
How many members were currently at the team then, Stu?
Well, man, it's tough to say. I mean, 70, 80 guys, part of the email list, buying kits, part of the group since, here and there. But a lot, like the group was big. It was an impressive group of dudes that we ran. So the first year we kind of like really inserted ourselves was when the team went from kits that were orange, blue, and yellow and white. If you remember when it went to black, yellow, and red, that was kind of the first year me and Chip designed them and kind of started taking over sponsorship roles and Volet relationships. Anyway, is that good? What else do you want to know?
That's killer. I just want to know more about the team and how it operates and how you changed it. So what are some of the things that you introduced to Mi Duele that makes it different than a lot of the other teams that are just kind of like a group of dudes that ride and race together?
Man, I don't know, Jace. I've never participated with other teams. Like, I don't know how they operate, to be honest. I love the way that we do it in the sense of like camaraderie, friendship, openness. The way that the group communicates, I think, is fun. I don't know. I mean, I think that we have the best looking outfits, if I'm being honest. Like our spandex is beautiful. I think we have the best sponsors. Like the people that support us are not just like businesses that want a free ride. Most, if not all, the sponsors in the team are like team members who are like, I want to help this group to be better. I want to bring more people in. So that's a really fun aspect of it. I think that the team is awesome because it's generational. There are like dudes and skill levels like across the board. I mean, guys that have competed in Lodija for 20 years versus dudes that are brand new. They're like on the high school mountain bike teams. I think that's a really fun part of what we do. And if you're listening to this and you're outside the team, you have to know, like, I think the team also receives some like, oh, why are they like that? Like some teams are very specific, whether it's racing or mountain biking or like events or whatever. I think that Mi Duele is an interesting part because we try to provide aspects of multiple different genres, like Scotty Miles dirt advent, like our partnership with Ventum. I mean, like gravel riding, cyclocross, mountain biking. I mean, there is a Duele in every event you could possibly imagine, which I think is really fun for people to be a part of. So plus like great swag. Come on. I spent a lot of time making hats, sweatshirts, t-shirts.
Well, and I think too, one unique thing too about the team, and I'll add to all you said, Stu, is, I think this was maybe mentioned in the outline, but and maybe you had mentioned this to me too, but when somebody signs up for a race, it's like, who's going to suffer with me? It's not individual first. It's like you sign up and then it's like, oh, who's going to enter with me or who's going to raid riding with me? And I think that's what epitomizes Mi Duele is, how can I suffer with everybody, the whole team? I want to suffer with everybody, not just with myself only, but with other people. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think that more than anything, like, why a team? I mean, who cares? Why didn't you just go ride alone and show up and whatever? I think more than anything, the inside of us, whether it's heaven sent, a godly, whatever, I believe that people are programmed to gather. People love to be together. And I think it's fun to create a group who have similar goals, even different goals, whatever. But the idea exists that like-minded people are coming together to have experiences that they enjoy or don't enjoy, learning from each other, becoming better together, whether it's riders or just people. I think that's one of the coolest parts about what we do, being part of this group. So
I think you do a killer job doing that. And you even go a little bit further above and beyond to recognize people that do, maybe something extra and great. Tell us more about like the yellow jersey and why that is a thing.
There was a point where we wanted to honor those who had laid the legacy of what we are. I mean, if you've listened to the podcast with Eric Olson, I mean, that guy, like the legacy he's laid of what this team means, like even the team name, like what Mi Duele means, like that understanding, it's kind of like honoring those that have been before us as well as those that will carry on what we are, like the standards. They're kind of like the standard bearer. They fly the flag of who we are. And it was created, I think we're now into our third or fourth year for yellow jerseys. It's a team nominated honor where teammates vote, they send in a submission of someone that they think is worthy. And then we honor them. I mean, it's not like we're like, it's not like me and Chip are picking people. It literally is just like, hey, if you think that your teammate deserves this, nominate them. And that's the yellow jersey. We pick 2 or 3 a year, and they wear the yellow. So, yeah. Is that good?
I think it's super special. Just because cycling, as I've learned, is super entrenched in tradition. And it's nice to recognize the people, like you said, that have gone before and kind of laid the groundwork. And then also people that are, newer to the sport and just doing things like, Jake was recognized because he just freaking shows up every day. He's always at the group rides. He's always willing to ride, and he's always willing to invite new people. So it's nice to kind of create more inclusion and recognize people doing that.
Yeah, we'd give them money, but jerseys are a lot easier. So,
So you spend a ton of time doing this. You're thinking of things like the yellow jersey, you're designing kits, you're reaching out to people, you're managing the group me, you're helping do team camp, you're doing a podcast, countless things. Why in the world do you do that?
I think more than anything, it has to do, if I haven't mentioned it already, the idea of if I love a thing, I'm going to share it. Like, end of story. Maybe it's my personality, maybe it's my character, but like, if I love a thing, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to share it with the people that I love, and maybe even some of the people I don't love. Like, they should be part of this experience. Like, you go out for a long Saturday ride and you're like, who else can we bring along? Like, this is everyone needs to be experiencing this activity. When we did Mirror Lake Highway Jace last year, it was awful. But then as soon as it's done, you're like, I wish everybody would have been here to do this with us. And I think that is my why, is sharing how special this sport is and how fun it is, how beautiful Mill Creek Canyon is at 5:45 a.m. in July. Like, how are you not up there experiencing that? Like, everyone should be there. Just kidding. It's ugly. Don't go up, please. Keep that canyon. But I mean, I think that is why. And I mean, the podcast in and of itself is like, you need to meet Dan Tennell. If you don't know him, here's a podcast. You have to meet this man. Like, that is why it exists. Like, meet him, meet Eric Olson, meet these guys. I mean, so the passion behind creating a podcast is because I feel bad you don't know him. You should meet him and learn from a guy who had this incredible experience adopting his child. Like, you should know that story. And I think that it's similar with this team, like all the great things that I've learned. It's fun to share. And I know Chip feels the same way. We should interview him the same, but I mean, his passion for all things bike is unmatched.
It is.
Yeah. Was that good? Was that a good reason? Is that a good enough reason to spend all this time doing it?
I don't know. I mean, I question your sanity all the time.
I know you do.
a few times where I've just like, hey, there's this Oakley deal. Reach out if you have any questions. And like 40 people text me questions. I'm like, this is Stu's whole life.
Well, what about when we tried to organize the freaking CBD thing last year and everyone's like, let's do it again. I'm like, I'm not doing that again. You can go buy your own CBD cream if you'd like.
Just managing the personalities of the team seems
that's
super
hard.
hard. I mean,
It is hard.
They expect a lot from you. And I mean, you're willing to sacrifice and give it seems like.
And it wasn't like that. It's not always been this way. I would say it's recently that I've become more and more sensitive to people's inclusion, to be, like I'm joining a thing where I want to be included. If you guys look at like, I have a person submit a form, I want to be part. Why? I always ask them why. And it's always the same. I want to be with people who are such and such and such. I want to train with guys who are such and such and such. And managing that expectation is hard. Doug Brower always says it. He's always like, how do you manage your own personal time mixed with the needs of all these people? And he's like, why? And I mean, in the end, my best friends are coming from this experience. I didn't know you two a couple of years ago. Who would have ever thought, like, as grown men, I'm going to be making new, incredible, like, relationships with people that I didn't know outside. Like, my friends are from high school. No, they're not. Mine are from this incredible sport that bring us together in situations where, like, when it's over, I would do anything for that person. That's pretty 100%. Cool. That's a pretty cool thing as an adult to create relationships like that. So that's why I do 100%. It.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good enough for me. This is my favorite part of every podcast, Stu. And I think you being the leader of the team and, obviously sharing your why, sharing your story, but for all maybe those new people, even the older people, this is the best part, talking about advice or what suggestions do you have for us or anybody out there that's maybe listening. So share some advice or some suggestions that you have. Let's hear it.
I'm not the wisest old guy, whatever. I'm 42, just turned 42. Ugh, tough. But I have learned a few things, like sport has taught me a few things. So if you're like listening and you're like, oh, I'm involved in cycling, here's these are quick. This is kind of what I came up with. One is all of the accomplishments I've had on the bike or cycling are usually a product of, as I mentioned earlier, a product of where I believe my mind is trained to perform. And I'll give you a couple examples. There was this time where I was riding up Mill Creek or riding up Immigration, whatever. I'm by myself on that TT bike. So stupid. And it's dark. And this guy comes up behind me and he's sitting on my wheel. And as a young new rider, you're like, what is this? Like, what are you doing? And then he comes around me and I'm like, F that. So I like next to him. And the whole way up the canyon, we're just like, bump, 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 bump the whole way. And then at the elbow, he drops me like freaking just nuked me, right? We get to the top and it's Steve Murdoch. I don't know if you guys know Steve Murdoch. So he gets to the top, Steve Murdoch's there. And he's like, who are you? That was so fun. He's like, you ripped my legs off. And I was like, what are you saying? That was terrible. Like, and he kind of explained to me, like, this is a thing. Like, what we did today in the canyon that was like a good thing. Like, it was fun, hard. And I got home and Strava was new and we rode sub 30. And I was like, dang, that was cool. And so I started like telling everyone I met, like, I rode Mill Creek Immigration Canyon under 30 minutes. And they're like, is that a thing? I don't even know. Is that like, good job, I guess. Great job. And from that moment, I started to kind of think to myself, I looked at all those times and I was like, dude, I could do a 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. And it was the same in Mill Creek, same like Little Cottonwood. I was like, dude, I wonder if sub 50 is possible. And so if I'm going to give advice, I honestly think that like you make your mind up to do a thing way before it happens. And like I know in my mind that it's going to happen before I even show up. I know that sounds maybe like ridiculous, but cycling has taught me like I'm going to crush a sub 50 today. End of story. Or it's on the same side, the flip side, which is I feel terrible. It's going to be awful today in Mill Creek. Guess what happens? Guaranteed. It's terrible. Like you're going to be a sad person. Anyway, my advice, train your mind. Like I think it's a huge part of this is sport. I think it's a huge part of like being a father, being a business person is like your willingness to commit to something, stick with it, have no doubts that no matter how bad it gets, you're just going to stay there. You're going to do it. And like, yeah, I'm going to puke and my lungs feel like they're bleeding. And guess what? Who cares? I'm not going to die. I'm going to go for it. And that's great. And honestly, like I've said this to Charles before, it's like sacred sometimes. Like it's a spiritual experience that I come back and I'm like, that was actually beyond physical fitness. That was like a moment, a defining moment in my life that was so fun. And I crave it a lot. That's why winter sucks sometimes. I want to be back out there in the morning, like doing Jason Lang immigration runs where he's sitting behind us. Right. I mean,
now we're sitting behind him though. The tide has changed, right? So now we're sitting behind him and it's game over. So,
but I think whether it's advice or whatever, I love Jocko Willink. I don't know if you guys know him, that Navy SEAL. He always talks about how discipline equals freedom. You know, it's like, I believe that for your mind, like your thoughts are things like you think it's going to happen. If you're disciplined and you continue to train your mind, I think it's great. Anyway, so yeah, that's
you talked about too. I mean, talk a little bit about watching Kristen finish her first point to point.
Yeah, good point. So Kristen trained this year for point to point, and I've supported her at point to point and at Lodija, and I will honestly say, like, from my perspective, like watching those experiences, they're just as sacred. Like being part of an experience that is like connecting us from like a commitment, discipline perspective is money. It is so cool to watch her finish, win, podium. I kind of let go of this idea of that the ending result is the thing that matters. The thing that matters to me is like the sacred nature of training together, the time spent together, like all those experiences that lead up to payday, which is like being at the finish line with her or being at the finish line with Jake. Like, I don't think there's anything more special than hugging that person at the end of Lodija, because it's like this culmination of all these cool things that have brought you to that point. So, I mean, from an advice perspective, sometimes those results are not as special as all the things that lead up to creating that result. And that's why I try to embrace. Like I try to not worry about everything else. I try to love the journey.
That's good.
As cliche as that is. So,
what about
enjoy the journey, you everybody?
You talk about balance, Stu. There's another point in here. You talk about balance. Tell us about that.
Balance is crazy. I think for the sport, like if there's one thing I've seen, dudes get freaking weird when it comes to balance. If there's one thing I've learned, especially interviewing guys on this podcast, balance is like the key to not being I don't want to be rude to people, but it is like balance is everything when it comes to the sport, because you can get super weird about your equipment, like having the balance when it comes to buying stuff or the time that you think you deserve to train. I used to make fun of CrossFitters, Jace, that were like doing their mobility and then they do their strength and then they do their Metcon and then they'd got to work on gymnastics and they're in the gym for like 2.5 hours, right? 2.5 hours. That's like a Tuesday ride to Big Mountains. Like big whoop. Like I do that. And now I'm like having that balance, that perspective of time spent. It is exercise, right? End of story. This is not like curing cancer. We are riding a bike. And so balance, I am always super conscious about, like, when my kids look back, are they going to be like, dude, dad was super unbalanced. He always put that dumb thing downstairs in front of us. Like, that is a terrifying thought, 600 hours this year on a bike. That's
crazy.
That is that balance. I'm glad I have a partner who will check me and tell me, like, you are a weirdo. Everything that we do does not have to revolve around this thing: eating, sleeping, training, resting, massage, boots, Theragun, camp, travel, equipment. Like, it's just a little too much sometimes. And so finding balance in the sport is whatever. I can be spiritual. One of my favorite scriptures: where your heart is, there will your treasure be also. I think about that all the time. Where does my heart go when it, like, doesn't have to go anywhere? Do I think about my kids? Do I think about my job? Do I think about my church? Or do I always just think about biking? Well, guess where my treasure is, man. Guess where my heart is. Like, that to me is sometimes a good check for balance, is how much time am I devoting my mind to this experience? And it can wrap you up, man. It can be everywhere. So that's tough. But I guess I'm preaching to myself. Balance is always, like, something I'm worried about.
And I think it's important. One thing that I've noticed you do a great job at, Stu, is you're in it for you, and you're competing with yourself. And you don't let the balance get out of whack where you're just like, oh my gosh, this guy just beat my time up little. Because sometimes I've even reached out to you and it's like, hey, did you just see Jess beat your time up little? And you're like, I'm so happy. Yes, like, that is his thing. Like, this was his day, but that's not my,
yeah, it's true.
My time is my time, and my days are my days. And, like what Melissa said on her pod is that wins be
wins. Yeah.
Your wins be your wins. Like, you're really good at doing that.
Yeah. Well, Strava's created an interesting beast that I don't think used to exist, that is really hard to balance sometimes. So, but it's okay I think it's good to compare sometimes. I'll jump over to best of team. I mean, you should go look at who has the fastest immigration time on Midwelle. Just go take a look.
It's you.
Oh,
just kidding. Now I set myself up for a disaster.
Well, I mean, it's a good segue going on to the next segment here. Is don't take it too serious.
Don't take it too serious. It's true.
Let's finish it off here. Let's take it in for a landing. Give us this last little chunk here.
I love Aaron Jordan. I think he's super wise, super smart, and oftentimes he reminds us on our Zwift rides, like, he jokes around about it, but he's like, hey, it's pretend, guys. Like, we're pretending. We're biking to nowhere right now in our basements. Another guy, new guy on our team, Jeremy Woods, has the team he came from or manages is literally called Killing Time Cycling. Like, that was the name of their thing. And I think both of those stories are excellent perspective for what we are riding a bike. We are not doing anything of any consequence whatsoever. And maybe some people will argue with me about that, but dude, we are literally just, like, having fun. It's a bike, and I try not to take it too serious, and cross that line, like Jace was just saying, which is like, it's okay. There's some people that do not want to be on this team. They do not fit in, right? In recent months, we've had people that joined the last couple of years and they left. And I'm trying not to be sensitive about it because they were critical of, hey, this doesn't fit for me, and it's your fault, Stuart. Like, you're the leader here, and it didn't work. And I'm like, it hurts me because I want this to be a safe place. I want this to be a good place for everyone. But at the same time, dude, don't be too serious. Go find a group that fits. I want you to have that. I want you to be in a tribe where you're like, I love this tribe. I love these group of people. And if this isn't it, that's okay. And that's a lesson that I've learned here, which is like, it's just a bike. It's okay. As serious as it is, as how much time it does take, and the feelings that we have here, it is just like playing around. We are literally wasting time riding around on two wheels. So, I mean, I'm not saying that everything is a waste, because obviously this whole podcast was about how it's not a waste. But at the same time, I mean, it is just like a first world problem. Like if tomorrow things changed, all those hours, all that energy that's devoted to this experience, it really is just like riding around on a bike. And I remember once I saw a race director criticized for not having the race finish on time, or he made the guys sit around. Like they had to sit around and they wasted our day waiting for the race to start. And this dude he literally commented, I think it was a social post. He commented like, it's riding bikes, dude. It's all a waste of time. Like, like you signed up to pedal around. Anyway, so anyway, was that good? Was that enough?
I think you're a great example of doing exactly, practicing what you preach. There's something to be said for when you're out on the bike or racing, to just be remembered as like a good person, a good teammate, somebody that works hard. Because when I ride with dudes at Lotoja, I'm not like, hey, didn't you take fourth place at Lotoja in 2019? Like, what? I just look at you and I think, oh, you're that guy that like worked hard and took his pulls and was like fun to talk to.
For
and
real.
Wasn't a jerk. Like, that's you. That's why I love riding with you.
And it's true. That's why I gravitate towards like the guys on TBD, the guys on Team Real. Those are the guys that like I want to, this group. I surround myself with guys like that, Jace. I agree 100%. No one cares that you want a thing. Like, you want a thing, but you're like a jerk. Congratulations. Like, thumbs up, jerk. Like, here's your medal. No one cares. Anyway,
you remember the people you suffer with, man. I think that's what Medulla represents. And I mean, all of my memories have come from suffering with both of you. I mean, seriously, suffered with you, Stu, multiple times, suffered with Jason, you multiple times. And those are the memories that are forever ingrained in my mind, the people who I've suffered with. So
yes, great. Mi duele. I suffer. I'm suffering.
Mi duele.
Yeah.
Well, Stu, anything else? I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure. Anything else you want to share? Any more little gold nuggets?
No, I just, I'm super filled with gratitude. I mean, I really am. One for a wife, like, who not only does this with me, that is rare, but also allows me to be kind of a weirdo with this stuff, like training and bikes and all that. She has embraced this. We've embraced it together. And like, as a team is really fun. As you guys know, she rides with us, and that, like, I couldn't be more grateful for someone who not only has the courage, but also has the fortitude to be like, I'm going to stick with this, even when these stupid boys drop me time and time again. Dude, she sticks with it, and then she lays it out. I mean, so I am very grateful for a partner who, who's in it with me. She's incredible. So I don't know how I would do. I don't know what you guys say to your wives. Like, how do you justify all the time you spend?
We just ask for forgiveness a lot.
I don't have to do that. We're together. So anyway.
My wife's usually asleep, so when we ride in the morning, so she's usually asleep.
But no, nothing else. I would express my deep gratitude to everyone involved in this team. Like, they've touched me, my kids, my future, who I am. Just super grateful to share time as a human being on Earth together with everybody. Like, it's just the best. So that's it.
Well, we love you, Stu, and we appreciate your leadership and the kindness and all the hard work you put into this team. This team, since you and Chip took it over, and I'll speak for me, and you've let me in on a little things the last year or two, and I've seen firsthand what you and Chip go through on a daily basis, and I'm forever grateful for all the time and effort you put in, and the help that you provided, and even the constant friendship, man. I mean, seriously, it's you're a friend that's become one of my closest friends, and I'm sure Jason would say the same. I mean, you've become all of our friends and our best friends. So thank you. It's been a pleasure to interview you, man. It's been great.
Grateful.
Lucky to have you.
Yeah, man. Hey, and make no mistake about it. I want to bury you both all the time.
Oof.
I'll crush you.
I'm gonna crush you in about an hour, so we're good.
You want to lay down the line on Empire? I will kill myself.
Hey, you threw out a challenge to everyone to beat your Emmy time. So.
No. Actually, I haven't looked in a long time, so here it comes. Great. All right, boys. Thanks so much.
Love you, Stu. Thanks, Jason.
Hey, boys.